I just want to give a shout out to the show that I'm doing, that I do. It's on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. It's called Feet on the Ground. It's on Talk Shoe. The information will be on there. I just give a shout out to my hostess. The head host is Brother Vaughn. I'm one of the co-hosts. We got Brother Mekarai, Brother Kors, Brother Heru, and Sister Ma'at. And basically, we just break down certain things, dealing with the black community. Our next show is going to have the Irritated Genie going in on white supremacy. So, just show us some love. It's going to be on Tuesday at 9:30. So, peace, family. This is Brother James. I'm here to give you information on the up-and-coming lecture entitled Scientific Racism and the Conspiracy to Destroy the Black Race. And one of the areas I'm going to be dealing with is eugenics. And the reason being is because we as a black people in the African American community have become oblivious, or we are ignorant of the system of white supremacy and how they are implementing eugenics onto our community. So much so that a woman by the name of Harriet Washington had to write a book consisting of 500 pages where she documents the history of medical experimentation on African Americans. So the question would be, who made us forget about this history? What was the role that we played in forgetting about the history? I always go to the Civil Rights Movement because this is one of the critical events in American history where we decided to integrate into mainstream society. And I always pose the question, what did we integrate ourselves into? You have, for example, eugenics being implemented in all forms of areas such as medical, educational, scientific, and it was not too long ago that I did research on Norplant and how they was implementing Norplant in the 90s, and they was giving Norplant to teenage girls without their parents' permission. So the question would be, did the integrationalists have this in mind when they was integrating us into the society, mainstream society, into the educational system that is dominated by people who are for the maintenance of white supremacy? So it's important that we get educated on eugenics and how it's been systematically implemented into this society. Now, eugenics is the science of improving the human population through controlled breeding in order to enhance desirable traits. This was coined by a man by the name of Francis Galton. He was a cousin of Charles Darwin. Charles Darwin was influenced by a man by the name of Robert Malthus. Robert Malthus wrote 6 essays on the principle of population, where he suggests that the population, if left unchecked, would eventually override the food supply. This is referred to as the Malthusian catastrophe. He also suggests that it's through famine, disease, and war that the earth naturally regulates the population. Charles Darwin will read Robert Malthus' essays on the principle of population, and he is quoted as saying that this is a theory by which he can work with. And this is where he came up with his theory of natural selection, and which will be in his book Origins of Species. Now, Francis Galton will study the works of his cousin Charles Darwin and say, well, if this is the case, then shouldn't we control this natural selection process by breeding the people who we deem to be better fit for living on this planet? Thus you have positive eugenics, and then there's a negative aspect of eugenics, which would suggest that we can prevent those who are deemed to be less fit from breeding. Now, all 3 of these men were Englishmen. So now we got to do a little bit of research on the British Empire, because when you do research on that, you will find that the British Empire had colonized most of the known world. Areas such as China, India, Australia, Tasmania, etc. You will also find that the Englishmen has proved to be militarily superior, not only over his European counterparts, but also over the non-white masses in which he encountered. Thus, you have these people coming up with a scientific and a social justification as to why this was so. A man by the name of Charles Davenport would travel over to Britain and begin to do research with one of Francis Galton's proteges, a man by the name of Carl Pearson. Carl Pearson, he studied biometrics. He was a eugenist who studied biometrics. He wrote a journal called Biometrica, that in which Charles Davenport was an editor and also a writer. With the knowledge of eugenics that he learned from Francis Galton and Carl Pearson, he would come over to America and begin to the Eugenics Records Office in Cold Springs Harbor, New York. With the help of, with the financial backing of the Carnegies and the Harrimans. Charles Davenport would eventually hire a man by the name of Harry Laughlin. Harry Laughlin played a crucial role in integrating eugenic policies into state legislation. This would attract the attention of Germany due to the fact that within the philosophy of eugenics, you had different classifications even amongst the white race, the Nordics, the Alpine, and the Mediterranean. Nordic being the more superior. Germany was, for the most part, of the Nordic stock. You had Germans becoming interested. They would send scientists and sociologists over here to begin to study eugenics, to bring the science back over, or the pseudoscience back over to Germany. In fact, Adolf Hitler would use the eugenic legislation and the eugenic policies that was being implemented in California onto the Rhineland. And the reason why he chose the Rhineland was because after World War I, the Rhineland was being inhabited by African troops, and they would mate with the German women and you know, create what the Germans referred to as the Rhineland bastards. So they would, Adolf Hitler would sterilize the offspring of those German troops, of those African troops, through the eugenic legislation that was being implemented in California. So, you know, just give it like a little brief history of, you know, eugenics and the role that it's playing and how it's connected. I mentioned to you America and also Nazi Germany, because many people aren't aware that Nazi Germany was being funded and aided and abetted by a lot of American philanthropists, such as Rockefellers, who played a crucial role in funding a lot of the Kaiser and Wilhelm institutes, due to the fact that the German government was in a state of financial difficulty due to the fact that they had to pay reparations to the French after the Treaty of Versailles after World War I. So their financial backing came from American philanthropists, like I said, such as the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Loebs, and the Harrimans. And it was really all across the board. Many people aren't aware that Adolf Hitler's SS was a private army. There was a privately owned army. And, so, you know, we could go to like after the fall of Nazi Germany. You had them trying to clean up the word eugenics. So this is a very crucial part in American eugenics. Frederick Osborn was the president of the American Eugenics Society at the time, and this is what is referred to as the biologization of eugenic terms. Is basically they replaced eugenic terms with more biological terms. So the American Eugenics Society was changed into the Society for the Study of Social Biology, which is still exists under that name to this very day. And the Eugenic Quarterly was replaced by Social Biology. He did an excellent job at cleaning it up and getting getting the approval of the people, but he still had a problem with attracting people whom he wanted to impose eugenics on. So he felt as though he could use propaganda as a tool to attract the desired people. And none would be able to really attract the people until a woman by the name of Margaret would come along. She was a feminist and a eugenist. And unlike men such as Harry Laughlin and Charles Davenport, she was a negative eugenics. those two people was those two men I just mentioned were positive eugenics. She was more so focusing in on the woman's health and to be in more particular the white woman's health, and she didn't want to get into a baby making contest with the non-whites. She considered that to be unhealthy and an unhealthy task. So thus she kind of integrated a feminist type of perspective into eugenics. Thus she was in agreement with Frederick Osborne when she suggested that we can use propaganda to attract the people who we desire to implement eugenics on. Just a little bit on Margaret Sanger. She began to distribute contraceptives illegally, in which she was arrested for. This would gain media attention, thus leading to a lot of rich white women galvanizing around her. And once she got out of jail, she had the financial backing to legally pass through legislation the right to present contraceptives. She would start a birth control. She would start a birth control clinic, and eventually she would start the organization, the American Birth Control League, which we now today call Planned Parenthood. Another crucial thing that she did was she was able to integrate contraceptive use and make it easily accessible to minority groups through public assistance programs. Margaret Sanger is also known for writing a article in the Birth Control League called the Negro Project. And the Negro Project is basically was a kind of like a rubric to attract African Americans to be comfortable with eugenics. One of the things that she mentioned was to promote eugenics to the church and had the preachers promote it to the masses. Another thing that she mentioned in there was to promote eugenics through, I mentioned that, promote eugenics to the church, and also have African American doctors present while people are getting certain procedures to make them more comfortable with going through the procedure. And she would get backing by men such as W.E.B. Du Bois, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., and also Martin Luther King. So once again, we say, what is the role that our so-called American leaders played? In fact, you had Jesse Jackson. He's outwardly spoke out against eugenics, but then when he was running for president, he turned around and said that it was a women's rights issue. Now, only way he getting that, that is a perspective of Margaret Sanger. So just a brief overview, give you a little bit of what's going to be talked about in the election. And one thing that I seen that attracted my attention when I was outside, it was like a big billboard, and it had black genocide, and it said the most dangerous place for the African American is inside the black woman's womb. That was a real powerful statement. So they first convinced the African American female of eugenics, then they placed it on a billboard, kind of putting it in their face. And then they have all these statistics suggesting that black women that has is more likely to get multiple abortions and all these different types of things. So it's very crucial that we understand what's going on. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. This brother James signing off. Peace. I just want to give a shout out to the show that I'm doing, that I do. Is on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. It's called Feet on the Ground. It's on Talk Shoe. The information to be on there. I just give a shout out to my hostess. The head host is Brother Barn. I'm one of the co-hosts. We got Brother Mekarai, Brother Kors, Brother Heru, and Sister Ma'at. And basically, we just break down certain things, dealing with the black community. Our next show is going to have the Irritated Genie going in on white supremacy. So, just show us some love. It's going to be on Tuesday at 9:30. So, give us a shout out. Show us some love, I'm up in Black and Nobel. Shout out to, the family. Peace.
Right off the bar, nerd sub stop. Philadelphia, PA. Shot so loud you would think it was a club spot. African Americans, although we all over the web, we the hood librarians. We ship to prisons too. We reach out and deliver to those that's bitten too. But it's more than a bookstore. You want it, we got it. Mixtapes, DVDs, and culture products. Black and Nobel got our hands in a lot of projects. We welcome all to come build. The energy is positive. And remember, other teams is awake and conscious. Come through and experience this place of knowledge. They say they'll put it in a book if they wanna hide it from us. But we got them books so you can buy it from us. Something to read while you on a train or riding a bus. Get your read on, food for thought, get your eat on. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel, I buy my books at Black and Nobel. Black and Nobel.